Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to MagnaWave Office Hours in 2022. A lot of times I don't like to talk about dates on here because I don't want to date a specific broadcast, but it is January 22. We haven't been here for a few weeks with the holidays and all going on. So we are certainly glad to be back and we're glad you're with us today. So we're just, again, glad all that's going on and we're glad you're here. If you want to talk to me today, please feel free to give me a call at 502 414 3436. That's 502 414 3436. And I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about anything that you would like to talk about, whether it's about machines, about protocols, about training, about business situations, business opportunities. I'm here to certainly have that conversation with you. A couple of things to go over. As you know, we do have video books available for our practitioners at this point, and it's a great vehicle to use if you're a practitioner. It's kind of like a little computer with a TV screen on it, and you can hand it to a customer, let them look at it while you're doing treatments, or let the trainer look at it while you're treating the horse, or let the trainer or the owner look at it while you're treating the horse or the dog or the animal, whatever the situation may be. You can leave it with them for a couple of days, let them go over it and come back and pick it up. So it gives you an opportunity to have several contacts and connections with your customers. So the video books are available, and they're very well accepted. They have standard videos, or you can customize the videos to your business, your logo, the whole 9 yards. It's just a great way to promote your business and your practice. Also, as you know, MagnaCon's coming up this year, June 8th through the 10th, downtown Louisville at the Galt House. It's going to be a great time. Maybe Tony's got a commercial for us. He can show us about the Galt House and the MagnaCon. A new location for MagnaCon 2022 has been chosen. Get ready to join the largest PMF conference in the world at the Galt House Hotel here in Louisville, Kentucky. The only waterfront hotel in the city, the Galt House will give you front row access to many great restaurants and attractions that will make for an unforgettable MagnaCon experience. Make sure to reserve your hotel room for MagnaCon 2022 today. There you go, MagnaCon 2022. If you go ahead and register MagnaCon at this point, you'll be entered for a drawing for a free hotel room. And if you've already got a hotel room, then you could cancel and get your money back. But if you have your tickets, if you haven't bought your tickets, sign up and you'll be entered for a drawing to win a free hotel room. So we're excited about that. MagnaCon's coming up again, the 8th to the 10th of 2022 in June. And also don't forget that this will be the last live MagnaCon for basically 2 years, because the following year we're going to do more regional type of meetings where we'll be traveling around the country, visiting various areas and having a good time doing that. And then in 2024, we'll be back probably downtown at the Galt House again. It's going to be really cool because we're going to be doing the live demonstrations on what they call the Belvedere overlooking the Ohio River. And so it'll just be an incredible experience. As you know, we go to Churchill Downs. We have a lot of fun. A lot of great speakers, new speakers this year, new product introductions. So we're looking forward to you being there and enjoying yourself at MagnaCon 2022. All right, let me have a look here and see what we've got in the way of questions from the folks that are with us. Maureen's with us, Vivian's with us from Texas. Sir, that's wonderful. Maureen says MagnaCon is always unforgettable. Thank you so much. Sandy's with us from California. Christine's with us. Good morning. Purchase your tickets. They're talking about that in the chat box. Tammy's with us. Let's see. Let's move it up here so I can get the full. Hi from New York, and that's pretty cool. So if you have a question, put it in the chat box. As you know, we're coming to you on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you have a question, just put it in the chat box and it'll pop up and I'll be able to have a look at it. We do have some questions that were received over the period of time here, short period of time, and I'll be happy to address some of those. Let's see. When is it too cold to MagnaWave? Now, this has been discussed in the groups. Hazel's with us on CastBox, but it's typically, we don't recommend that you leave your device in a cold, sub-freezing temperature overnight. Certainly, same thing in the summertime. If it's very hot outside, don't leave it in your car because it could cause the coils to become a little brittle. But in most conditions, you can MagnaWave in which I've done many times in sub-zero temperatures. You can MagnaWave right through the blanket. If the horse has a blanket on, you can MagnaWave right through it. You don't have to physically be in contact with the skin, as we know. So typically, cold temperatures are not an issue. Actually, it may serve to warm the animal a little bit. If you're treating a horse, have good blood flow and good circulation. You're just massaging the muscles as you're going. So that'd be a good thing to do in the colder temperatures. Certainly, you want to avoid cold water and those types of things getting on the machines, which could be a bad situation. The thing you do want to remember that there are pieces in the device that are porcelain and materials that if they become cold, I mean like freezing cold, they get a little brittle. And so you could, if you throw it around or it drops off of an edge or a ledge or something, you could potentially have something to break because of the coldness, how the product may become a bit brittle. But again, if you keep it in normal temperatures, room temperatures, or non-freezing temperatures through the day, you don't have a problem and it won't be an issue. And you can just go right ahead and fulfill your obligations to your clients and your customers and do the treatments. Any recommendations for approaching a vet's office to work with? Well, the best thing is to demo. So if you got a vet's office and you want to introduce yourself to your veterinarian, explain to them what you're doing. You have to understand what you're doing, be confident in how you explain what you're doing. If they sense a sense of not being stable in your thoughts or not being convinced that you really believe in what you're doing, they won't believe in it. So you just want to make sure that when you talk to the veterinarian, your speech, your elevator speech, whatever it is, how you're approaching them is from your heart. You understand it, you believe it, they see that. If you're confident, they will be confident in what you're doing. And then certainly recommend to them a demo treatment on them, a demo treatment on an animal, a dog or a cat, whatever it may be, because as we know, in most cases, we see an improvement immediately. You see a result immediately. And so that'll give them some idea of what's going on, and then offer them some form of a demo, if you've got the rent to own program and you've got an extra machine or two that you can say, here, let's put this in your office, or take it home with you and use it for a few days. Anything to give them that assurance that they can understand what it is you're doing. And so volunteer to work in their office. Woody Blackburn is a former professional golfer, two-time PGA Tour winner, does that in Jacksonville, Florida. He works in a chiropractor's office one day, a heart doctor another day, he works in a veterinary clinic another day. And so it just gives an opportunity for him to work with different people. So you could do that. You could volunteer to come and spend the day with them, let them talk to their customers and animals that are having certainly arthritic problems or issues that will see a more rapid result when the treatment is applied. So that's how I would work with a veterinarian going forward. Certainly you have the video books, would be an excellent way. Leave it with the vet, let the receptionist, let the techs, let the people see it and look at it, offer to come in and treat them. And again, demo. You just can't do more than being able to show them how it works and what it's going to provide them and their clients. Once they see that, it really, I don't want to make it too easy, but it becomes a no-brainer once they can get through that. Now, all things said, there are veterinarians, there are customers, there are clients who are going to feel that it's competition. They're going to feel that it's going to lessen what they do. They may say, well, I do laser or I do this. That's fine. And if they push you aside, there's a lot of veterinarians in your community. And so go to another one. I know we had a veterinarian that took care of our boxer. We had a boxer for a number of years, and it developed hip dysplasia, and they wanted to do surgery on the animal. We started using on the boxer on Sadie, and we started using PEMF. It wasn't MagnaWave at that point in time, but we started using PEMF, and the dog responded wonderfully. Went back to the veterinarian a few months later, and she's looking for where the scars were from the surgery that she didn't do, and they weren't there. And we explained what was going on. And of course, sometimes they thought, oh, no, we don't want you in here. We don't understand what you're doing. And we changed vets. We went to a different veterinarian, and they addressed and once they knew what we did and how it could work into their practice, bingo, we had a veterinarian that was supporting us in the area and moving forward in that manner. So don't be afraid. They'll tell you no for many reasons. Sometimes they'll tell you no just because they don't want to deal with it at this point in time. They'll tell you no because they don't know what it is, what you're doing. They'll try to find a reason. They'll try to say, okay, is it FDA approved or FDA cleared, or is it safety tested? All of those questions that we are working to answer today and really be on top of our game. If you don't answer it the way that they think it should be answered as a veterinarian or a professional practitioner, that gives them a way to say no. It's not that they won't believe, and it's not that they won't come around. I can't tell you how many times when I was treating, I would go to a horse show and I would treat a particular trainer or treat a particular animal, and they would like what was going on. And then I would all of a sudden say, okay, it's time to start paying. I've done your demos and we need to work out a schedule. Oh, no, we're good. And so I'd go away and turn around 2 weeks later, they'd be working with another practitioner because they thought, well, I'll get a better deal from another practitioner and I'll be able to work this out and approach it like this or like that. And that's what would happen. And so don't be afraid of that. Carry yourself with authority, carry yourself with confidence, express that confidence and authority to your customers, whether it's your customers or your veterinarians, and they will come around and they will be with you. It's not easy. It's not like falling off a log, but it's so much different today than when I started and we really started developing the PMF east of the Mississippi River. A lot of people had no clue what we were doing or what it was. And that, believe it or not, has changed dramatically. And you have so many tools. Somebody can go to the Facebook research, MagnaWave Education, International Education and Research page and just see testimonial after testimonial. They can ask questions on that page. They can search that page. So there's just so many ways for people to come around and understand what it is that we're doing in order to do that. But that's what I would do. I'd familiarize myself with a lot of communities are having events where they'll have a free Wednesday night gathering at the YMCA or at some church or a facility where people who can't afford veterinary care can bring their animals and bring them in and volunteer to go to those, work with those type situations. You may not be there to make money, but you're there to provide a service that those people will love. Their animals will feel better. The veterinarians and the people involved, the technicians that'll be there will see that, will understand that. You'll be on equal footing with all of those folks. So look for those types of things. Maybe suggest it to a veterinarian. Hey, let's do a thing over here at the church in this area on every other Wednesday or something, and promote it to the community that people come and we'll work with their arthritic pets and their pets with back pain and and they can do other examinations and things like that to help the pet owners around the area, and you're the player. And that's what you want to be. You want to be the player as best you can and go forward. And again, if you start just doing a little bit of all of these things that I'm talking about, it will grow. Why do I know that? I did it. And we continue to do it. And we have to work it in that fashion. And it was tough, but it worked. And it was gratifying that, as you know, quite often we provide these services and the results are immediate. Not complete recovery, not complete turnaround, but immediate, oh my gosh, this is working. And there you go. So that's my recommendation on working with the vets. I'm sure when Elaine gets back in the office from her travels that she's been doing some international work this last week or so, she'll be back in the office, I believe, on Thursday or Friday, and we'll once again fire up her business building classes. And if you haven't done that, I would recommend that you do that and learn and grow from that type of to get out there. And another question we had, I was wondering what strategy you would use to get yourself out there. I need a little push. Well, the push, again, is demos. The push is your authority. The push is having good materials that you can show folks as what you're doing and so on. I had a conversation with somebody a couple of weeks ago. They said, when I talk to people, they just don't believe me. And I used to say it all the time. It's a little different today for me personally, how we can do this, but it can be done. You can set this up with a friend of yours in another city. You can set it up with your sales professional. You can set it up with me. There's just a lot of different ways to do it. But what I used to do is I would tell the practitioners, look, if you get 4 or 5 people around and you're explaining what's going on and they're just not getting it, or they're just kind of pushing you thinking, yeah, well, tell me this, call me and I'll get on the phone and you'll to ask me what their question is and I'll answer their question. And the funny thing is, but it's true, the person on the other end of the phone is always an expert. And they'll say, oh, gee, Mary said that it does this and it does that and it does this. And she doesn't know who we are. And she's just answering the question as a professional in Texas and so forth. So there's just a lot of ways to do that. Don't be afraid to use I've gone over this already, but to use the research portions, the MagnaWave pages to be able to show testimonials. Nothing works better than a third-party testimonial to give somebody some input and thoughts about what their need or what they're looking for. Let me come over here and have a look, see if we've had some questions. Oh, here we go. Jessica asked the question. Are there any studies out there out on fertility success? I've been working with some heifers and they have been saying the heifers are showing stronger and larger heat cycles. That's a very good observation. I can't speak to that specifically. I can say that over the years, we've worked with some veterinarians on fertility issues to help the insemination process, to help just the whole process to give some viability to what's going on. It makes sense that if the cellular health and the physical health of the muscular health and so forth of the animal is in good state and improved, why wouldn't their functions be more in line, be more profound or processed, if you will? And so that makes perfect sense. Can we say that there is a study to that end? No, there may be. We can maybe do some research. A good way to do that is go online, say study about animal fertility with PEMF, and if it's there, it'll pop up and give you some of that type of result and follow through with that. So that's one way to look for it. The challenge in the veterinary space in a lot of cases is they don't have to do studies in order to do things. It's not the veterinarian working with fertility issues or health issues with cancers and tumors and all of these kind of things. They can kind of work their own experimental basis. They can kind of do what they want to do because it's not mainline medicine, if you will. It doesn't have the same regulations as far as what they can talk about or do with their clients that a human practitioner can't do and approach in those situations. So they're not required. It's not required to have studies for various pieces of equipment or various supplements or various things in the veterinary space. So that makes it a bit of a challenge. It's very expensive to do a study, although we are doing some studies with some of the schools of veterinary. We're working in various areas and we'll kind of put some notes together on that. Make a note on that, Emily, if you will. And we'll kind of go back and cover in a future episode about some of the things that are being done on the school levels, on the veterinary school levels and colleges, and bring that to your attention. And even if you have a good contact at a university or a college in your community, and you can talk to them and say, hey, this is what they're doing at this college or at this college or this university, maybe we should try to do something here. And then we'll build off of that together and help some of this come to fruition. But there you go. Let's see, studies. What's the number to call with a question? Oh, great one. There you go. Let me put it up here. Let me move this over a little bit. The number to call with a question is 502-414-3436. 502-414-3436. Just send me a text to that number and I will call you right back and we can have a conversation about what it is that you would like to go into a little further. They put the thing up on the screen there. Great. We had a mare that couldn't carry a foal to term. And when MagnaWaving this mare through her term, she carried all the way to term for the first time. Sure, good blood flow, good health, feeling good. I mean, there's just so many things that can happen, but if we can help the animal maintain its health and its strength, then we can help the normal functions of the body progress as they're supposed to. Thank you for sharing that information, Carly. Appreciate that very much. The stallions I work on through breeding season show better motility, higher semen volume. Wait a minute, let me find it here. Higher semen volume. Haven't worked on mares much at this point, but definitely see a difference in the stallions. Thank you for sharing that. And so again, it's a lot of things that goes on with the MagnaWave and the PEMF and the body and the therapies that are there. We really don't totally understand. We just know that we help the body be in a better state, to be healthier, to better function at carrying on its natural processes, better function to healing internally itself. And that's where we go for. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Deb asked a question. I got to get a little close here. I don't want to put my glasses on, but I could. I recently had a total hip done and experienced nerve pain. I was very slow to start my MagnaWave. I waited for 2 weeks after the surgery and used very low settings for a very short period of time. Have you ever experienced with those where it irritated the nerves as this is what it did for me? So I have laid off for a while and my pain has gotten better. Any thoughts on this? Okay, Deb. Of course, when you have a replacement like that and things going on, sometimes you're going to have pain before you have the relief, because we want to help the nerves regenerate or heal or get to their best strength state. And so in some cases, you may have that. What I would recommend, what I see is you waited a couple of weeks. What we've learned is the quicker you get on a situation, the quicker you see relief from a situation. So what I recommend is if someone has a hip replacement or something like that, or a knee replacement, that they begin treatments as soon as possible. Bleeding's under control. A doctor says, okay, we can do this. I would begin treatments. If you want to treat low and slow, I'd do that. I mean, if you want to treat on one or on the lowest setting that you can get your machine to for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I would do that. And I would build it up from that type of situation. And what you'll find as the nerve begins to strengthen and become regenerated, you will be able to turn the device up a little bit. But if you have some pain, that could be, everybody's different. And some people are more sensitive to the therapy than others. I've always said that 1 out of 100 people, it's just irritating to them to a point. But in most cases, I would recommend that you begin treatment and on a very comfortable setting for a moderate period of time. I would always say 6 to 8 minutes or 10 minutes. And if you're comfortable going a little longer, 15, 20 minutes, that's fine. Much more than 20 minutes in any one setting, and much more than 15 minutes in any one setting is overkill, and you don't need to do that. But but it can be that you find yourself in a situation that you really maybe should have approached it a little differently, or you could have worked to approach it in a little different type of situation, and that would be my recommendation at that. For the most part, when we've had folks that have had replacements and things done, that they're working with their doctors and they're using some forms of therapy like PMF or like our devices, that's how they would approach it. So I hope that helps. Let's see. Client's dog has fatty lipoma, and vet sent him home with an assisi loop. After 3 sessions, the dog chewed and licked it to the point that there was no hair left, like a hot spot. Could PEMF cause severe itching to the lipoma? Anytime you've got a healing process going on with something, could there be itching? I mean, if you have a rash, if an animal has a rash, you need to get rid of the rash. The rash can be irritant, and you want to get good blood flow to it to help get the inflammation. If there is itching and there's a rash, it's the inflammation that's causing the itching. And so you want to get that under control, and you want to deal with that in that fashion, kind of like a hotspot. So could it cause that to happen? Well, you're going to go through, it's much like I said, you're going to get the process going that you're trying to work through. And so you want to get through that process. You want to start and go forward. Quite often when you're doing, and the CC loop, I'm very familiar with them. That's not a situation. They are lower power, and so they're slower to work. I'm not saying they don't work, but they're lower power and they're slower to work. So if the itching is there and we're not getting deep into the situation to relieve it, the animal is going to be going after the area. If we can, that's where the higher power devices or the higher intensity devices like the MagnaWave devices can get to the area more rapidly, get the inflammation relieved. So maybe they won't itch as much. Maybe you can put the topical on there and help it be infused with the PEMF to get into the area. If you use a low power unit and it's designed to do something, but yet it's not rapid enough to relieve what's causing the desire to itch or scratch or lick or whatever, you got to wait it out. And it could take a longer period of time for that to happen with a lower power device. They're very effective. They work. They're good PEMF, but they're slower. And so if you got a situation that the slowness is not what you want, then you have to deal with that and go at it accordingly. So I would say it's not the PEMF that caused the problem. It's the PEMF that wasn't sufficient enough to solve the problem rapidly enough to give the comfort to the animal or in that type of situation. Hope that helps. Let's see. Good morning, Trinity. Stuck home with COVID this week. No good. Been looking forward. Oh, okay, great. Trinity. Thank you for being with us. I'm sorry that you're stuck home with COVID. A lot of that going around. A lot of stuff to deal with, and I'm sorry that's the situation. You're certainly welcome, Sherry. Hope that helps the answer. But let's see here. Let me go back over to my phone, see if the text came through. What's this? Could this be incoming call? Well, let's just take the call. Hello. Well, it went away. Let's see here. Got a couple of calls that came in. Oh, wow. We got several calls here all of a sudden. Let me go back here. Let's do this one first. Let's call it. See, that's what happens. Get going one direction, forget to go back and check this. Now I got to make this. Hello, Pat Ziemer here.
Hi, Pat. My name is Peter. Happy New Year. We've talked before.
Yes, sir.
Had a question. So my pup, Allie, I was using the Spiro on her. Oh, sorry, not the Spiro, the Sol. I was using the Sol on her, and it really was amazing at, giving her mobility back for the last 4 or 5 months of her life. And I did end up returning the machine because I wasn't able to afford it, but now I'm in a better position, and I was thinking about investing in the Spiro, the base model. Right. But I really love the Sol. But can you talk about the Spiro and how it could be, like, how it relates in terms of, like, is it powerful enough? And I got a new pup and he has a soft tissue injury, and I really wish I had a MagnaWave to use them.
So to answer your question, most certainly the Spiro is strong enough to do what you want to do. It's a digital signal as opposed to an analog signal. So it's going to feel a little more different to you and to the animal, but the energy that's being released and absorbed by the body is very beneficial. The biggest struggle, and if you can close this off in your mind, people that have been on the analog side of the devices and they go to a digital, they think, it's different. It's different. I'm not sure about it. If you can blank that out The Spiro will do your deal for you.
Yeah.
Just fine. And that's the biggest challenge. But no, it's fine. It will do the job. Most
wonderful. Is there anything is there any condition that like it's not as powerful for? You know what I mean? So you know it's good for like a soft tissue injury, but are there any things that where you would definitely want more powerful?
Well, the additional power gives you more versatility. So if you had a really bad joint issue, it may take more time, more treatments with the Spiro as opposed to a more powerful unit. But the studies that I'm working on with the doctors in New York are showing that it's equally there. It just takes a little longer. And when I say a little longer, I'm not saying weeks, but I am saying it could take more treatments. Instead of 4 treatments, it might take 8, or it might, to start getting where you're going. But there is nothing that it wouldn't approach. Now, if you're treating an NFL player and you put the Spiro on them, or you're treating, a horse that is big and muscular, it's going to provide the energy and it's going to work, but they're not going to think it's working.
Right.
Just psychological.
Okay. Thank you very much for answering my question.
Okay. You're welcome. Have a great day.
Take care.
Mm-hmm. Bye. Okay, good. Now let's see here. All right. So let's go. Oh, same one. Oh, same calls. Let's try this one. Here we go. That's Peter. He called in a few times, so we got second call here.
Hello.
Hi, Pat Ziemer here.
Hey, Pat. Sorry, this is Emily. I was testing the line.
Oh, Emily. Hi, how are you? What's going on with you? What's happening in marketing? This is Emily Blankenship, Director of Marketing with MagnaWave. Did you have a nice New Year, Emily?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. How about yourself?
I did. Very nice. Very nice.
So marketing's going great. We're doing some new initiatives, updating the content on the website. So we should have some new stuff for everybody within the next quarter.
Good. We appreciate that. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Okay. All right. Thanks, Pat.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Kind of caught Emily by surprise there. She was testing the line to make sure that it was working. So that's a good thing. Let's see here. Digital devices serve me quite well. Maureen talks and puts that in there. And that's for sure. But as I was describing, that is the biggest issue between digital and the analog devices, is that they are different. And they feel different. They're doing the same thing, but you got to get used to that. You have to understand that. But in terms of their viability, they're excellent, and they can do the job, and they afford us an opportunity to have a broader range pattern for people to be involved with. And we're doing some studies with the digital devices as we're going forward with the FDA and so forth. And so we're looking to really be able to bring information to the table that would be beneficial for you as practitioners, to give you more validity, more credibility in what you're doing, and more documentation to demonstrate what the devices do. We've dedicated a very significant portion of our budget to do these things, to have studies, even though in the veterinary space we don't have to. We want to work to create that credibility, if you will, because people are asking for it. And the more and more devices that are out there, the more and more people that are out there as practitioners, because the world is big and there's just a lot of opportunity. Customers are asking, well, tell me about this, and will it do that, and how is it used here? And we've made a commitment to, as I said, to put a sizable investment into providing those materials for you as MagnaWave practitioners to help you build your businesses and satisfy and take care of your clients. Okay. Let's see. Got a couple more questions here. How can I know if I'm ready to hire my first employee? It would be another MagnaWave practitioner I have taken. I'm not clear. I totally understand that. But, well, you're ready when you can't do it all. You cannot keep up. You're ready when you're confident enough to be able to have someone come with you and to share that. I will say that there's two kinds of people in the business world, and they're both good. I'm not saying they're bad, but some people are technicians. They're going to do the work. They want to do the work, and they're only going to do the work. Other people can be a technician entrepreneur. They can understand. They can tell their clients that it's me and William or me and Anna that are going to be doing this, and Anna knows as much as I do, and Anna works with me, and we work closely together, and we go down the road. So we're going to develop it and help you do more to the customer. And so there you basically replicate yourself. You'll know when you're at that point that you can, it's pretty easy to do. You can sit down and run the numbers, if you will. I do this many treatments. I charge this much. I'm working this many hours a day. If I had someone helping me, I can do more and help them grow their professional and what they're doing. And as things grow, there's the LZR and the red light therapy and other things that are available that you can provide to your customers, that you can have that professional backup, if you will, to help you do that. And so it's a comfort thing, because there are situations that it's going to cost you. Sometimes it's going to cost an additional machine. Sometimes it's going to cost some form of guarantee for the person, unless they're comfortable enough and you have enough business. And that would be the thing. You have enough business that you can say to this associate that, okay, tomorrow you're going to be here, and the next day you're going to be there, because I know I'm going to be over here, and these calls are coming in from these folks. So if you already are having that situation that you cannot satisfy the demand, do it. Don't wait, because I learned a long time ago, if I'm thinking about something and it's working over here, and there's somebody else thinking the same thing. And so I don't want to miss that opportunity. And I'm not trying to say you're going to miss the opportunity to make money and to do all this kind of stuff. But the fact is, in order to be successful and to grow a little bit, you have to capitalize. You have to move forward on those opportunities. The other thing that it's going to do is it's going to show that you're serious. It's going to show that you know what you're doing and that you are successful. People love success. People love people who are moving forward and helping more people. They like that. And it just makes them feel good. I'll tell you the story. I started out treating. I was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, at the indoors in November of 2006, 2007. And I was charging at the time $75 a horse. And I had who I didn't consider as a competitor, and they could have considered me being a competitor, because it was a veterinarian chiropractor. So he was a full-fledged veterinarian, and he was also a chiropractor. So he would practice chiropractic from a veterinary perspective together, and in body manipulation and so forth. And I'm not going to use names or anything, but I respected this man. He was very well accepted and very successful in the communities. And so I just, I didn't steer clear, but I also didn't want to interfere, because I was new. There weren't many machines. There weren't hardly anyone doing what we were doing. And so I just was doing my thing and minding my own business. And I was charging $75 a horse. One afternoon, I was working on a horse. He walked up to the stall and he said, "I got to tell you something." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "You need to raise your price." And I was doing treatments. It wasn't that I wasn't getting treatments, but maybe I wasn't doing as many as I could have, because again, it was brand new and we were just getting our business. And he says, "You need to raise your price." And I said, "Okay, why?" I want to make sure that I can provide this to everybody, or that type of thing. And he said, "Well, because let me think about the best way to say that. People believe in what they pay for. And if they don't feel that they're paying what it's worth, or you're not charged, then you must not have the best service, or you may not, have that going on." And I just sat and scratched my head and think, okay, and I understand that. You get what you're paying for, and you feel that if you're paying for something, that's it. So I said, okay. And I said, thank you. And he left, and really it started, we never became fast friends, but it started a professional relationship that he could talk to me and I could talk to him and I could ask him questions. And he became a point to where he would refer people and that type of stuff. I doubled my price that night. And the next day, to the customers I was charging before, I raised my price. And now for a few of them, because they were good customers, I didn't go all the way up. I maybe went halfway up. I went up to 100, or I went up to 110 or whatever. And I was in, why? Well, I'm busy. I got to know where I'm going. And it's costing me a lot of money to be in this bus floating around the country doing all this stuff. And, okay, we want you here. We want you to be successful. We don't want you to go away, because that happens. And so at any rate, I did it and never looked back. And you can't look back. So that's this thing. If you're going to hire an associate, don't look back. Know that you got it. Know that the demand is there. It is there, and move forward in that manner. Hope it helps. Let us know if you have questions. Get in, take Elaine's class if you haven't taken it already, her business building class, and learn more from that perspective. But it is a good thing to do, and it can be beneficial. Okay. How much shorter would treatment times be with a Sol Pro versus a semi? That's a great question. I wouldn't know that the treatment times would be dramatically shorter. You're going to have a little more versatility with the Sol Pro, because it is a little more powerful than the semi. It is a analog machine, so it's going to feel differently than the semi. But I would think that the treatment times between the semi and the Sol Pro are very similar. You could go a little longer comfortably with the semi. So I would say if you've got and it depends. If you're doing the hips with the butterfly, the large loops, and you're doing both hips of the horse, and you're using the semi or a Sol Pro, it's the same thing, because you're not going to turn the Sol Pro all the way up, because it'll be too high to go with just as with the semi. If you've got a semi 3 or a semi 5, and if you're using the large wave wings, rarely probably do you get up to 5 with the wings, whereas with the paddle or with the butterfly, you will get up to 5. And the same situation will be with the Sol Pro. If you're using it and you're dealing with some joint issues, the Sol Pro might give you a little more push to help the ankle or the knee or those types of things. But they're in a very similar range. Now, if you're talking a difference between the Max or the Julian and the Semi or the Sol Pro, there's a little bit more of a spread there. You don't need the time with the Max or the Julian that you need. Or that you can use with the Sol Pro or the Semi. Hope that helps. Let's see here. Okay, Lucille, you're welcome. Thank you for your comments. All right, well, we're moving right along here. If you have some more questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'd be happy to answer them. Those of you who are listening on Castbox, I'm glad you're here with us today as we start the new year and answer questions about pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. And as we go forward, let me check my phone line here to see if we've had any contact over here on the phone. 1234. Oh, we do. We have a call here. Let's give this one a ring here. All right, here we go. Ring-a-ding-ding.
Hi, this is Emily. Sorry I couldn't answer the phone right
Emily,
now. This
sorry.
is a message.
That's Emily. She called me back again. I called her. Never mind. I didn't read that I placed the last. I'm sorry. I get excited. Somebody wants to visit. I love to talk to people live It just makes it so much easier to get deeper into the subjects that we're talking about and things going forward. Let's see. Kelly writes, hi from Florida. Where are you in Florida, Kelly? Because that's a good place to be at this time of year. Let's see. Looking for the first time purchase, it will be for barrel horses to bucking bulls. What would the best machine be? If price is not an issue, I would go for the most versatility that I could get with a Julian or something like that. But it's not necessary if you're using the large loops. If you're doing bucking bulls and that type of situation, I would think that you're going to want a more powerful device, something that you don't have to leave on as long, something that's easier for you to use in that type of situation, that you can be shorter. You could put the wings on for 5 minutes, 5 minutes hips, 5 minutes shoulders, approach it like that, as opposed where if you're using a more moderately powered machine, you may need to go longer. And with those animals, how you have to approach them with the pins and the gate and so forth, it would be a little different. So I would look more in the Sol Pro and up type of situation, semi 10 and up type situation, but the versatility of the higher power machines, the Maya, the Julian, the Max, are going to really cover the board. But as many folks on here can attest, if that's not your particularly in the barrel racing, if you're doing the barrel racers, you don't need to have all of that all the time, because you're talking the versatility to work on their backs, to work on their top line, to help their hips, to help their stifles and their hocks, so forth, and their feet. And you can do all that as Maureen and many other folks have very successfully attested to and described to us many times. With the very lower powered units, you can achieve that type of situation. There is a time difference. There is sometimes a versatility difference that somebody wants you to get on this abscess and they want you to work it as best you can, as quick as you can, and get it. Certainly the more powerful devices will step up to that. But that's not the situation. And to be very straight with you, there were years, probably 10 or 12 years easily, that I didn't have the availability, or we didn't have the availability of lower powered machines to satisfy what we wanted to achieve. As engineering changed, as we were able to seek out components that didn't cost as much, or various types of situations, it allowed us to get to a situation that the price number could change. I mean, for years, all we had was $21,000, $22,000 Max machines, and that was it. And if you wanted to dance, that's where you had to go. Today, it's different. Practices are different. How people do it. So again, if you're talking about barrel racers and comfort and recovery for those animals, you could certainly go with pretty much any machine in the line. But certainly, as people will tell you, a little more power is not a bad thing, and you can just be a little more versatile in what you're doing. But approach it from that situation. I will say, and it's unfortunate, there are some people that look at particular devices and think, well, you're wanting to, and I guess the correlation I might use, you're gonna do an Uber in a small car that you barely get 3 people in, or you're going to do an Uber in a 6-passenger. I want the 6-passenger. And so there is, unfortunately, with your customer, there is some of those situations where what you have has a bearing on what they think. But that's where your materials come in. That's where your confidentiality, your confidence in your speech and what you're saying, what you're talking to the people. That's where that's important. And so any of that will work. And so that's my thoughts for you. If you'd like to talk further about that, talk with your product specialist. If you'd like to talk with me, talk to your product specialist, then I'd be happy to get with you and them and talk you through that a little better if necessary. I want you to be successful, and as many people on this call can see, it's viable with many different types of machines. Let's see. Kelly's in Middleburg, just below Jacksonville. Okay, I'm in Jupiter as we speak. Hey, Jim, good morning. Jim's with us this morning. Let's let's see. Hi from New Hampshire, a client whose 16-year-old dog had been treating weekly for hind pain and stiffness with the LZR and Sol. I was just diagnosed with a mast cell tumor around her head and neck. Thoughts on treating? Well, you certainly want to deal with your veterinarian to see what they're doing, if what type of therapies they're using. Certainly, veterinarians will use some veterinarians who approach. I would look for integrative veterinarians that are using more holistic types of methods. Maybe they're using a lot of vitamin C. Maybe they're using an ingestible chemo type situation. There are situations where veterinarians have worked with the PEMF to help keep tumor size down, to help the drugs or the medications they're using to be better assimilated into the body. And so those are the questions you want to have. But I would, if you're treating the head and neck area, you can put the coil right over it. It'll help with the pain. Hopefully it could help with the inflammation, drop down of tumor size and so forth. And but again, you want to speak with your veterinarian about what they're doing and how they're going to approach it. And you want to try to work together in that situation. Okay. Maureen says, I spent many years drooling until the semi was released. And Maureen has been incredibly successful with her semi. And there's a perfect example that if you know your game and you work your process, you can be successful with these devices. Could you go over some of the new regulations with using the PEMF at the racetracks? Well, as you know, there's a whole thing going on at the racetracks with the overall health and welfare and safety for the animals. I can say that the biggest challenge has been for years that it's a situation that the laws in Florida are different than the laws in Kentucky, and the laws in Kentucky are different than the laws in Oklahoma or in Michigan. And so that's caused a lot of consternation. So you can do something here, but you can't do it there. Now, from the standpoint of what we're doing, several years ago in California, let's just talk about the low-powered low-powered PEMF blankets, the Centurions and the Responds, and some of those products could not do it on race day. And so when we started building our business and our clientele in California and various places like that, we didn't treat on race day. Not that we couldn't, but they just pretty much said no race day treatments. Now, across the country, you're seeing more and more states adopt to that type of situation. They're wanting to know when you're doing it, what you're doing. There have been some regulations in some of the states to where the veterinary board said, well, we're going to outlaw this or we're going to change that. And we've worked closely with the AOPP. If you're not a member of the AOPP, join the AOPP, because it's a group that is working to help build the industry, to keep us all on the same plane, use the same terminology, and that type of thing. But with that said, we got with the AOPP and went to Pennsylvania and went to Texas and went to California and these various veterinary boards or various regulatory boards, and presented the argument for what was good and what was safe and how it should be used. And really, in almost every case, we have not had a bad response or a response that we weren't looking for, because once we provide the information and answer their questions, that's really what they're looking for. But you're probably going to see more and more situations to where in the racing world, you don't see therapeutic treatments on race day. You'll see in the day before. Now, whether that's 24 hours or 48 hours in some cases, there has been some talk about having a 48-hour window. Well, the reality of it is if you're treating an animal regularly and you treat it 48 hours before a race, it'll hold. That can last very well, 48 hours or more, to help that animal be healthy. The other side of that coin becomes the recovery after the race. How well can we help the horse recover more rapidly? Not necessarily that it can run back quicker, but he can help be healthier quicker, recover in a faster fashion to get back to the track to continue to train while you're looking for the next proper qualified race for that particular horse. So those are the situations that you're going to see change as we go forward in the thoroughbred world. And really, I believe in that. I think we need a more unified system as to what happens. We have it in the FEI. I mean, over the years, the FEI in the hunter jumper world and the dressage and the CDI and all that kind of stuff, there's been a lot of situations, but at least they have an international ruling, and they say, well, let's do this, and they'll listen and they'll allow these things to happen, that you can pretty much travel the country and know what's going on. And there's still some gray areas that they need to work on, and they will, and they are. So that's where it's at. So that's what I see happening in the particular areas. Do I see it being outlawed or light therapy or this being stopped? No. They may start that way. I mean, I can tell you there was a time, I'm going back 15 years in New York, where they said, nope, can't do this. Louisiana, nope, you can't do this. Only a veterinarian can do this. Well, the veterinarians don't want to do this. They have other things they're doing. They're diagnosticians, and they want to get deeper into what's going on. And they've made some of the rules to where a vet tech couldn't even put on a bandage. And they didn't want that. So it's very hard to draw some of those lines. And in all of those cases, we received clearance and got things reversed, that we were able to work closely with the veterinarians and closely with the trainers and the owners of the animals to help. That's all they want. People get scared. Oh, it clicks. It's got to be shockwave. No, it's not shockwave. But it does this, and it helps that. They just want to know, and they want us to tell them, or the AOPP to tell them in a manner that is educated, understood, and true, and then they'll work with you. And so that's the best way to have a look at that. Okay. Remind me, can we MagnaWave in the case of an infection? My sister has a tooth infection. I told her no MagnaWave. I think remember reading about this just want to make sure. Again, it depends. I can tell you in the veterinary world, years and years ago, if a horse had an infection, the situation became, let's wait till the antibiotics kick in and do their job, and then come back and treat the area to help it heal. A lot of times infections are bacterial based, and increased oxygenation will help fight that. If the infection is in the head, to treat the overall trunk and the hips of the body to help rejuvenate the blood and improve the blood flow that's going to go there, is not a bad situation, I don't think. To treat the particular, that was the situation in the horses, was, well, we don't want to move it. We don't want to spread the infection. Well, if that's a fear, and it is, you don't want them jogging because their blood flow is going to be more, and can that cause the infection to migrate to somewhere else? If they're on medication, they're on their antibiotics, you might want to wait till the regimen is completed and then come back and do what's going on. But improved oxygenation will fight bacteria. Improved oxygenation will fight infections. Now, again, you may not do it right on the spot of the infection, but that's the nice thing about we were treating people and doing some preliminary studies, which we're still working on concussion injuries. And so we were treating the head to help the brain health and the brain age recover, and to establish a healthy brain age for these athletes that had concussions. And what we found is it helped their back pain, or it helped some other issues, because much like an aspirin, you take an aspirin, you feel pretty good all over it in some cases. It just helps relieve the overall pain. Same thing. What we treat headaches, we treat the feet. You treat the feet, treat a headache. Well, it's kind of like reflexology, and we've just found that if you got a headache, treat the head, treat the neck, treat the area, and then treat the feet, and bingo, we get a little better response. So I hope that helps with that particular question. Check with the veterinarian. Don't know the level of the infection. Don't know what's caused the infection. So you need to have all of that stuff answered. But to look at it from the state of improving the body's blood flow's health, the blood flows uptake of proteins, the blood cells uptake of the medications that they want to get to the area. PEMF can help that. And so again, work with your veterinarian and kind of work those situations. We're out of time. Let's see. That was the last question there. So I want to thank you. It's great to be back. I love doing these programs, and I hope that you enjoy them as well. And good Lord willing, we're going to keep doing it and enjoying it all the way. We're going to see you at MagnaCon. If you haven't got your tickets, sign up for MagnaCon. Come see us in Louisville at the Galt House Hotel. It's going to be a great time. And a lot of things coming, a lot of exciting things happening. And if you have questions, we want to answer your questions for you, because that's what it's all about, to help you be successful, help you take care of your clients, and to help you feel better and be healthier. I love you guys. Wave on to better health. Go all the way with MagnaWave. Have a great week. Bye-bye.